All right, guys, so this is our 11 on 11 formation that we have. You'll see down here, we have our goalie. Then here we're going to start this season with 4 back, but we don't want to be 4 back on a line. We're going to have 2 that are a little further back, kind of our stopper sweeper. These guys are going to work together. We normally do the diamond sometimes. So if I feel like one of you wants to pump up, you can do that. These 2 just really need to work well and talk with each other. But to start the season, we're going to have 2 of them back. We have our left and right defender. Then we have our left mid and our right mid. This is our center mid D and our center mid forward. So instead of doing a line like this, we're going to try this so it kind of gives them less running so they can work with each other. And obviously, if you guys need a switch, you guys just communicate with each other. But we're going to kind of do a diamond. So that's the big thing. In the middle of the field, we're doing a diamond. On the back, we're kind of doing an arch like that direction. And then we have our left forward and right forward. So our strikers, we have 2 up front, and then here's the ball. So that's our formation. The next thing I want to talk about is our positions. So our left and right forward strikers. So when the ball is down here, of course, they're coming up this way. So everyone will kind of move with them. The key thing is when the ball comes back down the field for our strikers, and it's all the way down here, I do not want my strikers leaving that midfield line. So strikers pretty much play only in this area. So this is the whole strikers area up here. So this is like for my strikers or my forward. This is where they're going to play, mostly on this side of the field from here to here. Okay, and that's it, because if we don't have them up here, now of course if a ball is like right here, you can jump back and this guy can move over and work with each other. A lot of times you're not side by side, you're working with each other to pass with each other. But we want to make sure that we have 2 guys up here. So when we get the ball out of here, there's someone to pass it to. And once they get the ball, this guy can move forward so you can send them. This guy can come up. So our center mid forward. So our center mid forward here as well, he is a midfielder. So they are working in the midfield area, but they're also going to help support the strikers. But when the ball's down here, they're like at the top of this circle. So our center mid forwards kind of stays at the top of the circle. The ball's down here because we always need some people in the middle and we always need some people here when we're trying to clear the ball. So that's our strikers and our forwards. All right, the next thing we're talking about in our 11-11 formation, we talked about our strikers and our forwards, so now we're going on to midfield. So that's these guys right here, our midfielders. So they're pretty much the ones who take the ball up and down, but they're also the ones that shoot. So please don't think just my forwards are the ones, these 2, that are supposed to score goals. A lot of times I tend to say my strikers, they get shots on goals, but mostly they're there to block the goalie or to get rebounds and shoot and score. And a lot of times when they're down here, my strikers will pass back to like my center mid forward or my left or my right mid, pass back, and then they take the shot. So just because you're a striker doesn't mean you're going to be the only ones that shoot on goal. I encourage all my midfielders and all my strikers to be anyone. If you got a shot, take a shot, okay? So the big thing about the midfielders is they do a lot of running. So you want to make sure that you're not burning yourself out. So we try to do one that's up and down. So we have our center mid. This is our center mid forward and our center mid D. Center mid D means that you're playing in the middle of the field. You're going up and down, but you're mostly helping on defense. You can still take shots, but when we move up the field from my center mid D, which is my number 6 here, center mid D, when we move up the field like this, and the ball's up here, this is as far as I want my center mid D to go. So they can help and they can come up, but we don't want them to go too far up because the middle of the field, like here to here, this is where my midfielders cover. So midfield is for my left and right midfield and my center mid D and my center mid forward. So this is your whole area that you have to cover. So when the ball starts coming back, you start moving with the ball. We move together. We want to stay in that diamond formation, okay? It helps. We're all moving together. The ball now comes down to here. This guy's helping in defense. He's my center mid D. So he is now helping in defense. My center mid forward, because here's my left and my right. My defense would be all down here. They're going to be right here. This is my left and my right mid. Okay, you come down here. You are helping in defense left and right mid. You're down here. you're not all the way in the box. I should never see midfielders down in the box here, okay? You don't need to do that. You can help, but don't get too far in. And if it's a corner kick, you do need to help out, okay? That's the difference. If it's a corner kick, you need to help out. So again, this is my center mid forward. They're going to go at the bottom of the circle to help. My forwards be at the middle of the line here. So my midfield looks like this, okay? So really the main goal of the center mid forward, not to confuse you, is they mostly play on this half of the field and in the middle of the field. And my center mid D, they play all in the middle of the field and mostly in defense. Okay, so that's my midfielders. And my left and my right mids are always here helping support, but they can also help for goals and they can also help for defense. So they do a lot of running too. Okay, my left and my right mid. And this is important because really when you're on this end of the field, my defensive goal is to clear the ball. My midfielder's goal is to carry the ball. And then my strikers are to help form shots, whether it's with the midfielders or they take the shots themselves. So when we get to, this half, when we're on this side of the 50-yard line, on our half, we really want to clear it out. And a lot of times the best way is to go down the sidelines like this. Okay, we clear it down, we go down, and then we attack back in. So again, our defense might kick it up to my wing. Then they might use my forward here, who then passes it back here when my center mid forward then takes a shot, okay? So we want to really talk and move together as a team, but really keeping this formation is going to help us so we don't get too tired on the field. So that's my midfielders, and then now we're going to go to defense. All right, we're now going to talk about defense. So defense, these are my guys back here, and we never want to be on a straight line. That way, we always work together and talk together. It's like a dance. We're doing a curve. So I'm just going to move these guys up a little bit so we can see them a little better. So sometimes when the ball's over here, this guy has his back. When the ball's over here, this guy has his back. So if he comes to here, then this pushes over and this pushes over. They all kind of move together like a dance, and you always want to back each other up. So that's why we have a left center and a right center. Sometimes in the games, we will move to a different formation, which is a stopper and a sweeper. So where one is forward and one is back. So mostly like when we're up the field, if we want to send someone. So if we're ever all up the field and trying to score, and it's the end of the game, when we go to the midfield line and the ball's down here for corner kicks, this is how I want my defense. These two are on the line and these two bump up. I never want to see all of you on the line. You need to be here. Because if they ever kicked it back, you can just send it back in. But sometimes I'll call out, one of my players like number 9, move up. Push up means move forward. So I want you to go more like here, okay? And then come back. So you go like that and come back, because sometimes we need help and sometimes we need support. So this is more of safety. If we need help on defense, we need a stronger defense, we do this. If we're doing well, or if we need to score goals at the end of the game, we do this instead. That way there's only one back, so we have another one up, so there's more attacking and trying to shoot and score a goal. But again, I never want to see this like all on a line when the ball's up here. These two are kind of up, these are back. And again, sometimes we can send one and send them back, but they're always talking and moving together as the ball is coming down the field, and making sure that they're always marking a man and on goal side. We'll get to that in just a minute. And again, these two defenders, they really, unless I tell them to go, they stay here. This is the back half, and these barely go up. We don't want to see them all the way forward. You're mostly back here defending and helping with the goalie. And when we're up here too, our goalie should be just about here in the middle. So if a ball's ever kicked, they can just send it back in, and they move as we go. Everyone's constantly moving on the field. We never want to see big gaps. So whenever we're all moving, if you notice, even just that formation right there, we're kind of covering the field. But if everyone's up and we have this massive gap, then someone needs to come and fill that. We don't ever want big gaps, and the goalie will come up and fill here. So that way we're constantly moving as one up and down the field, and there's not big gaps.